I shall now give you a small update and presentation on our journey from jute bag to automotive. This is a long story of business. 1975, the jute bag factory was started. It's like a tailor shop, taking the cloth and stitching it to supply to the customers. That factory was destroyed in 1984. 1985, family separation happened and my father shifted to Aurangabad and the incorporation of Aurangabad Electricals happened. The plant 1, which is the Aurangabad Electricals plant 1 located at Waluj, was established for production of magnetos in the year 1986. This was the story that I was telling you about my father at the age of 60, how he started this plant. I think there are many people in this room present today who know the struggle and who struggled with him. Typically Mr. Kedia and Mr. Mali, two gentlemen who I owe enormously for the kind of support that they lent to my father during his initial days. I moved into Aurangabad in 1990 and I set up a plant just behind my father's factory to make high precision spindles and electronic magnetos. There's a story behind each of these activities. When my father shifted to Aurangabad, he set up a factory for Bajaj Auto. And when I shifted to Aurangabad, Mr. Arvind Dhoot told my father that, listen, you are working as an ancillary to Bajaj Auto, your son shall work for me. And therefore, I started my career working with Videocon, making the spindles. That was the startup of my business career in Aurangabad. But what really gave me the confidence that I can do it in my life, just as what gave me the confidence that I could do it when I was in class 9, was the conceptualization and the starting of Kalasagar. I remember in Calcutta one day, I was watching a program of Nitin Mukesh, and I thought, why can't we have something like this in Aurangabad? That was the thought that triggered to me in Calcutta. I came to Aurangabad, conceptualized a plan to make Kalasagar, to make a cultural club in Aurangabad. I gave it the complete plan, the entire the blueprint of the Kalasagar, and I discussed it with my sister. My sister would do or support me in any of my activities, and she said, sure, why not? This is going to be another flop, but let's do it. So I said, fine, we will try it. And I called at my home 5 families. Fortunately, all the 5 families were very responsive to the idea of starting Kalasagar. We had Mrs. Darda, Mrs. Madhur Bajaj, Mr. Ram Bhogle, Mrs. Sudha Bajaj, and of course myself. We 5 sat down together and I explained to them the concept of Kalasagar. That was the beginning of Kalasagar, and then when Kalasagar became a huge success, I knew that I could also do it. That was the turning point in my life. I owe thanks. I have no words to express to Mrs. Ashu Datta. I gave birth to a child, Kalasagar, but she's the one who's really run it and maintained it for so many years. I am extremely thankful to her for what she's done with Kalasagar. And that was the turning point of my life, even as a professional or as a businessman. In 1995, we established an HPDC aluminum die casting factory. Friends, as I said, each of these activities has a story to tell. Bajaj Auto had just started manufacture of motorcycles around that time, and they were looking for vendors to make aluminum die casting parts. And they were trying to bring in vendors from Haryana to set up their plants in India. None of the vendors of Haryana was ready to set up a plant for aluminium die casting in Aurangabad. Mr. Ranjit Gupta offered this project to my father. Bagla ji, आप aluminium die casting करेंगे क्या? Bagla ji, as always, हाँ साहब, हम करेंगे. We did not know even A or D or C of aluminium die casting. He just said, हाँ करेंगे. He comes back home and says, आज मैंने एक नया प्रोजेक्ट ले लिया aluminium die casting का, ऋषि अपने को करना है. And well, believe me, in 6 months, the aluminium die casting factory was up and running, thanks to Mr. Kedia again, who built the factory in less than 4 months. Well, that was the beginning of the aluminium die casting factory with all conventional machines. None of the machines were high grade or world class or anything, but then that was the beginning, and I could keep the customer and I could give him the product that he wanted. True as always, the customer said, boss, you are doing die casting, now I am not going to give you any more tools and dies. You have to do your own thing. We set up our own tool room. Then they said, sorry, we are not going to take only as cast materials. You have to do machining. There came machining. Then they said, this is not good enough. You have to do painting as well. And before we realized what was happening, we were supplying them the entire brake system of a motorcycle. We were making the brake panels for the motorcycle. And that was a very important change in our business scene. Friends, in 1997, I remember that was the first trip that both me and my father had gone out of India for business. We had gone to have a joint venture, to have a technical collaboration discussion with a company called Taijin Electric and Machinery. Taijin Electric and Machinery के साथ magnetos की collaboration करने गए, but when we visited that factory, we saw one of the aluminium die casting machine which was fully automatic. We forgot about the magnetos and we said, "Arey, where did you get these machines from?" He said, "These are all made in Taiwan." So we requested him and he set up with that party. That party is the famous Taiwan supplier called Zitai. We met Mr. John of Zitai. We discussed with him and he said, "Listen, there is going to be an Imtex in February in India and I am sending one machine. You pick up that machine." And we picked up that machine from Imtex and installed it in our factory. Friends, that made a world of a difference because that was then the cutting edge technology. Nobody had a fully automatic die casting machine of that medium sized tonnage at that time in India. Zitai sold its first machine to us and now they have probably sold more than 400 machines in India. So when the customers saw the movement of technology, they were all very impressed and they started giving us more and more business. And we suddenly found that buying of the machine from the supplier was almost like buying vegetables because we would order him on phone, "Mr. John, please send one more machine," and he would send the machine. "What about the payment? We'll pay in due time." "Okay, fine, you pay later, I'm sending the machine." That was what made the difference in Aurangabad Electricals. We had no money, but over the years, at every point of time, we kept our commitment with the suppliers. We kept our commitment to the buyers. And that made the difference in our company. That was what was the difference. The suppliers were willing to give us machines for no payment. I think most of the machines in India come with a 25% advance payment and balance to come in as soon as the machine is approved. I think Mohini will confirm that to me because she is the leading, India's leading machine manufacturer. So that's how the confidence was built up. A guy sitting in Taiwan was giving me credits of crores of rupees. That's how I was setting up one machine after the other with the latest technology in the world. And I was able to meet the customer and give him the latest technology products.